In this video, we have an incredible unboxing of some iconic pieces of comic book history, the holy of holy grails. There's only 3 books in this box, and it's in such a big box. You're not going to want to miss these books. Stay tuned.
GRAILS Comics.
Before we crack into this, a quick reminder that my first ever Marvel exclusive by In-Hyuk Lee, GRAILS Comics exclusive for Miles Morales, #1. Pre-sales are live now over at GRAILScomics.com. We also just got some cover reveals for the regular covers and some of the incentive covers as well. Pre-sales are live now at GRAILScomics.com. All right, so I'm going to set this down, get this out of the way. So this is the last video in connection with those 4 Mega Grails that came through my shop. Fantastic Four #1, first appearance of the Fantastic Four. Tales of Suspense 39, first appearance of Iron Man. Tales to Astonish 27, first appearance of Ant-Man. And Fantastic Four #5, the first appearance of Doctor Doom. 4 absolute Mega Grails, incredible backstory of how these books were so well preserved and how they were found. Link in the description to the other 2 videos around this book. We already unboxed the Fantastic Four #1 that came back in a separate submission because it was such a high value. We had to break it into 2 different submissions. This is the other 3 books as part of those 4 books, but there's a 4th book that I want to show you, and that is this one here, Amazing Spider-Man #1. The first appearance of the Chameleon, the first appearance of J. Jonah Jameson, the second appearance overall of Spider-Man, and the first issue in the incredible, iconic, Amazing Spider-Man original series run. I might as well show you this as well. This is an amazing slab stand from a company called Comic Block. I don't believe that they're doing it anymore. On this side, you can see it has Stan Lee's signature. On this side, it has Steve Ditko's signature, just replicas. And then on the top, it says, "With great power comes great responsibility." I had this specifically designed. It's a 1 of 1. And I had this book in mind. I wanted classic Spider-Man covers. I bought this like way preemptively. You know, I thought someday I'll have an Amazing Spider-Man original series run that will go perfectly with it. And before I go any further, I'm going to put it back up on the shelf. So I've always wondered why that book was so expensive. I didn't know exactly which original Amazing Spider-Man book that I wanted in that stand. I knew I just wanted one with classic covers, something original. But now I know that eventually I will have an ASM #1 whose forever home will be in that slab stand. It's just not the right timing for me to buy this book personally for myself right now. And I have always wondered, you know, what was the big deal about that book? Why was it so expensive? It's not Amazing Spider-Man's first. And now that I've held it, now that I actually own it currently, I get it. I totally get it. And I think what sums it up is I was reading a little biography on Stan Lee the other day, talking about how he switched from creating forgettable monster stories in Amazing Fantasy right up until Amazing Fantasy 15. It was phrased in this little biopsy as forgettable monster stories. And I think that sums it up perfectly, is that he transitioned from forgettable monster stories and then this, the most unforgettable character ever, Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, this series itself, we're going 900 issues strong on this series, and how many thousands and thousands and thousands of comic book spin-offs for Spider-Man have there been? I mean, it's countless. There's so many Spider-Man spin-offs, and Spider-Man is the epitome of unforgettable. It will never go away. The character of Spider-Man will never die. It will never go away. It will always continue in one shape or another, and that is why that book is so expensive. It's the start of that series. It's Amazing Spider-Man #1, and I get it. So I have it priced now at $26,000. I dropped the price from $28,000. The most recent sale was $32,000 for a 7.0, but then a sale came in for the 7.5 for $29,000. So I have this one at $26,000. I think it's an absolute bargain, even in today's market. And so that's available now at GRAILScomics.com. So let's cut into this box and see these 3 grails. All right, so this is how they're packed, nice and tight. I did notice that CGC has a thicker bag now for their slabs. This bag here, I'm not sure if that's, gonna stay or if it's just a temporary thing. So first up, wow, holy smokes, we have Fantastic Four #5. And it came back in a 6.0. I did already know the grades for these books, but I'm opening them for the first time, seeing them for the first time here on camera. I was really worried that they might, have been damaged or shifted in the case, but it looks absolutely perfect. The case is absolutely crystal clear, flawless. No Newton rings, no scratches, no debris in the case. I mean, wow! It actually, it looks fantastic. Fantastic Four #5, origin and first appearance of Doctor Doom, full page ad for the Incredible Hulk #1, and a letter from Roy Thomas. Just absolutely incredible. This was a little bit higher than we were actually hoping for it. I'm very happy with the grade of 6.0. Good Lord, is this an experience to hold this book in your hand? Man, Fantastic Four #5. The first appearance of Doctor Doom. So let's hop into the computer and take a look at pricing and availability for this book. All right, so here we are on GP Analysis looking at Fantastic Four #5. We're trying to find a reasonable price for this book, and herein lies one of the problems with selling comics books is trying to figure out where to price them at. And here we have an 8.0 off-white to white, and I wanted to show something, though, with these sales of Fantastic Four #5. Almost all books in the market have seen a drop in price from spring, summertime to the fall time of this year. However, there's many cases of Fantastic Four #5 where they've actually gone up since summer to fall. Here you can see in the 3.0 range, back in the summer in July, it was selling around 6,000 or 7,000, and here in October it's selling for around 7,000 or 8,000. So it's actually gone up since summertime. It's not the case for every single grade. Here in the 4.5, it actually has gone down since June, July. It was 12,000, 14,000, and posted a sale for 10,000 in the 4.5. But there are many examples where it actually has gone up. Here in the 6.5 range. Back in June, it was selling for 22,000, and here in the fall, it sold for 30,000. So an increase in price there. Here at the 9.2 range, which is kind of its own animal, but it was selling for 150 back in spring, and the most recent sale was 180,000 for the 9.2. If we take a look at the census for Fantastic Four #5, the 6.0, even in the 6.0 range, you could see it kind of, the census starts to drop off once you get up to around the 6.0, 6.5. So the 6.0 is actually one of the top 355 examples in the world for this book, with only 284 examples graded higher. So still a really, really rare, cool example of Fantastic Four #5 in a 6.0. And if we take a look at what's available online, eBay obviously isn't the greatest place to look and see what prices are doing or what's available. A lot of times, for various reasons, people post their prices super high here to drive traffic to their site or whatever the case may be. There's fees and stuff that they have to account for, but it does just go to show you, that if you're in the market for a Fantastic Four #5, it's difficult to find one that's at fair market value at a buy it now. Like, it's really difficult to find one just at a fair price. You're going to see a lot of this where the prices are just magnitudes higher than the fair market value. We priced this one at $19,000. So the last sale was $18,521, but that was at Comic Link or Comic Connect, one of the two. And they do add a 15% premium to that, which isn't accounted for in this. GPA needs to update their site to account for that when they report on the sales numbers. So I think $19,000 is a very fair price for this book if you're in the market for a Fantastic Four #5. All right, guys, book #2. Oh my good Lord, good God. Tales of Suspense #39. Holy smokes. I mean, wow. Wow, wow, wow. The case is absolutely perfect. Not a single Newton ring. Unbelievable. No hairs, no debris. It looks absolutely incredible. Tales of Suspense number 39, origin and first appearance of Iron Man 8.0, off-white to white. Holy smokes, you guys. What a book. What an incredible, incredible book. Man, does this present a lot better than an 8.0. It presents like a 9.0. We were actually hoping for an 8.5 or a 9.0. But let's hop into the computer and take a look at pricing for this book. Here, if we look at Tales of Suspense number 39, so we have an 8.0. This one is super easy to price because there was a sale just about 10 days ago for $43,200. And if we go and look at the actual book that sold, this is the one that sold for $43,200. It's an 8.0 off-white to white. Ours is an 8.0 off-white to white. It has the blue under the table and it has half the quotation marks. This is essentially the exact same book as the book that we have. I mentioned in my previous video that there's 3 things you want to look for with the Tales of Suspense number 39 that make it a truly rare book. One is if you could see the blue under the table right here in this panel, it means that it has a really nice cut. This one does have it. And the other thing is if it has the quotation marks around the sides of the words Iron Man here. This one has half the quotes. Ours has half the quotes. And the last thing is if it's a white page copy. It's super hard to find white page copies of this book. This one is off-white to white. Ours is off-white to white. So this is essentially the exact same book, which is why we have it listed at $43,000, $200 less than this. And if you look at GP analysis, that $43,000 is actually less than half of the only sale in 2021. So there was one recorded sale in 2021 for almost $90,000 and one recorded sale so far in 2022 for less than half of that. So I think $43,000 for an 8.0 of this book is a good deal even in today's market. And if we look at the census for Tales of Suspense number 39, the 8.0 is one of the top 159 examples in the world with only 107 copies graded higher for this book. It demands a premium, even though this book isn't as rare as Tales to Astonish number 27. Obviously, Iron Man is way more popular of a character than Ant-Man, so it demands a hefty premium, even though it's not quite as rare. Still a super rare book, only 1,900 total unrestored copies. So getting an 8.0, I mean, you are in an elite club of, just a handful of people that can say they own this book. I mean, 159 to be exact. I guess you would have to have some really big hands for 159 to be a handful. But let's be honest, 8.0 is an incredibly, incredibly awesome book to add to your collection for this book. This is your last chance to get in on October's giveaway. If you subscribe to the newsletter at brycecomics.com, you're entered to win a free slab. And if you subscribe to the channel, comment, and like this video, you're entered to win another free slab. And I'll announce the winners in the next video. All right, you guys, last up is, wow, Tales to Astonish number 27. Also a perfect slab case so far. No hairs. No debris. What's interesting about this, so Tales to Astonish 27 and an 8.0 off-white to white pages. First appearance of the Ant-Man Henry Pym, who goes on to become Ant-Man and so much more. What's interesting is this one has the little brackets holding the book in place, and the other books do not have that. And I've seen that in multiple cases, where sometimes a book will have those little brackets that hold the book in place inside the case, and sometimes they don't. Leave a note in the comments if you know why they do that. Why do they do that for some books and not others? I mean, if it's because those little brackets hold the book in place better, then why wouldn't they do that for all 3 of these books? I mean, all 3 of these books are grails. In fact, the Tales of Suspense is worth even more than the Tales to Astonish. So interesting little thing I haven't figured out yet. Leave a note in the comments if you know why. But what an incredible book, 8.0. And let's hop into the computer and take a look at pricing for this book. Now let's look at Tales to Astonish number 27, first appearance of Ant-Man. This is a book that I was hunting for the PC myself, and I had like 4 options. It was slim pickings when it was time, when I was actually looking to pull the trigger. I finally found one, but you guys may remember I posted that whole video about getting scammed with an international buy. It all worked out in the end. eBay buyer protection kicked in and I got a refund, but it's definitely not an easy book to find for for a fair price at Buy It Now. What's interesting, since we just had the Ant-Man trailer drop, there has been a lot of copies that came to eBay. I think there's about 20 copies listed now on eBay. When I was looking, there was like 5, and some of these actually are still there from when I was looking, but they've just increased their price since then. So it's very difficult to find one at market. Here at Comic Link, you can see there's one that is at auction as a 2.5. One just sold, it was a 5.0. Here at Comic Connect, there's 2 that are upcoming to be announced, a 4.0 and a 5.0. You can buy it now, a 9.0, but it's incredibly pricey. And here at Heritage, there is actually 2 copies that are currently at auction with 19 days left on both of them. 8.5. It'll be really interesting to see what this 8.5 does. The last sale of this was this month. An 8.5 sold for $30,000, and then there's a 7.5. So ours is an 8.0, and we decided to list it at $22,500, which I think is a solid price for this book at a Buy It Now. The last sale of an 8.0 was $19,200, but that was back in 2020. And here you can see that this book, even back in 2018, was commanding a high price of $19,000. So for $22,500, I think in today's market is a fair price. I knew it was somewhere between $19,200 and $30,000 because an 8.5 sold for $30, 8.0 sold for $19,200, but that was 2 years ago. So I think $22,500 is a bargain for this book if you're in a market for a high grade Tales to Astonish. And there's a huge jump in price from 8.0 to 8.5 because there's a huge drop in the census from 8.0 to 8.5. This 8.0 that we have for sale is one of the top 39 examples in the world. You would own one of the top 39 examples of the first appearance of Ant-Man with only 20 copies graded higher. Such a feather in your collector's hat. I mean, that is an incredibly rare book. So there you have it, guys. Some incredibly iconic comic book grails. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this journey. It's just absolutely incredible to be a part of this, to see books like this come through the shop. Incredibly difficult not to keep them all, but I am a business. I do support my family by selling comic books, and like I always say, the opposite of supporting my family is buying comic book grails to keep for myself. So it's difficult, but it's a joy and a dream come true to be able to do this for a living. Thank you so much to all of you for the support, and thank you as always for sticking with me to the end of the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
GRAILS Comics.